Folks, welcome to an all-new week. Start your week off right while we make fun of these celebrities and reality stars, and potentially you'll learn something, but that's really not the main priority here. As always, with me is one of my favorites. I have not talked to her in a minute, and I'm so thrilled to have her back. You know her from her insanely good Instagram account at IG Famous by Dana. We have the one, the only Dana Omari. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Ryan. It's been way too long.
It has been way too long. Listen, that's the like, and by the way, I'm so bad on dates. I was like, let's do it a couple weeks, and it was the Super Bowl, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot people actually care about the Super Bowl. And
Only when it's Taylor's version, right? Only when it's Taylor's version.
Well, were you swept up in the Super Bowl, the Taylor Travis of it all?
I mean, I love them, but not really. I don't know. I was like two teams wearing red. This is gonna be very confusing, but here we are.
That it can just be as simple as that. It's very confusing to watch two teams that are in red. I was noticing on your Instagram page, you had a post that I don't know that I think blew up. You were talking very gently about the work that Taylor Swift might have had done over allegedly, yeah. But like I think your caption was very gentle because Taylor has such a we call it Taylor's Army. Did you get a lot of blowback from that post from Taylor fans?
Yeah, not as much as I have in the past because I have posted her several years ago. And I think it's because I anticipated it. Usually one of the fan pages, the ones who think Taylor's their best friend and they just have Taylor all over their pages. Usually they get wind and then they post to their stories and demand that I, be like tarred and feathered. But that didn't happen this time, but I did have a lot of, oh my God, she just grew up. These are 20 years apart. And I'm like, I wish this is what happened in 20 years. Unfortunately, we had to pay a lot of money to get there.
I mean, first off, parasocial relationships can be really very interesting. And as I get further into this, I realize that even myself on a small level, but it is wild because I think you always come from a point of, it's not bad to get work done. This isn't a negative thing. Why do we view as a society this is a negative thing that people actually are trying to look their best?
Exactly. So I always point out like the inherent bias. So when I say she looks amazing, it looks like she's had X, Y, and Z done. And then people say, why are you tearing women down? This is so awful. And I'm like, show me where I use any negative language. I usually use positive or at least neutral language. And so you're coloring it with your own bias.
Well,
and I think there's just something about natural that we just put on a pedestal.
That's it. Well, I think that we want to believe that anything like that people are born a certain way. Like I even thought this when I used to really be like a full-time or trying to be a full-time actor, is that it was a big revelation to me that like actors actually went and took classes, that they actually worked to get good. I think a lot of people want to believe this is some God-given talent, and part of it is, but there's a lot of work that goes into anything that you care about in this life. I mean, this podcast might come off stupid and all that stuff to people, but like there is so much actual work that goes into it, weirdly enough. What did you speculate that Taylor had done?
Oh, so her entire like upper half of her face is completely different. It has really, really opened her eyes. Like her eyes are larger, wider. She almost sometimes has like a always surprised look. So she has a very dramatic brow lift. This is not a subtle brow lift. It's not a Botox brow lift. It's pretty dramatic, allegedly. A BLEF, which is your upper eyelid surgery. She has a very great subtle nose job. It looks like she's, had a little bit of cheek filler and just fillers in her face and her lips. Very subtle in that. And then a breast augmentation, which was confirmed by one of the surgeons here in Houston. He was not her surgeon, but he knows who her surgeon is.
I love that surgeons are going, hey, the word on the street with the surgeons is, I love that the surgeons are like telling on each other.
Right. Well, I mean, sometimes you just kind of know, like, even if the surgeon is like not saying who they're working on, I mean, and they wouldn't tell me who the surgeon was. I begged, I groveled. It was very embarrassing. And he said, I'm not telling you who did her surgery, but he's a friend.
And of course we all know the BBL, obviously. I'm joking. Yeah,
No,
no.
no, no, she really did have something. I posted about it, I don't know how many years ago, that it looks like she did some, like, sculptor butt injections, but since then, she has gained weight, and I don't even wanna get into that can of worms. Just talking about her obvious brow lift got me in enough trouble, so.
Well, I got to tell you, if you have the money, like I've been doing Jeff Lewis's radio show over on Sirius a little bit here and there, and he was talking about his butt augmentation. It wasn't a BBL, and he showed me before and after. Like I was like, I am seeing Jeff Lewis's bare ass, and he showed me the before and after, and I got to tell you, it was a huge difference. I was like, what the hell? Like these things sometimes they actually work. The other one I wanted to ask you about, which I didn't even plan on bringing up, but the one I noticed, and it was Brad Pitt. Whatever Brad Pitt has, he's 60 years old. This dude, whatever work he did is, you can tell something's, but it's like perfect. Like what? I mean, you noticed that too,
I
right?
posted about it. I posted him. He got a facelift, and it looks incredible. Like, it's
He
a very
does.
good facelift. Yes. And what was really funny is when I posted him, so he had like the jowling, so that's where he had like the fullness like down by his jaw. So when you have that facelift, everything's just put back to where it was, when you're a little younger. And people were like, he just lost weight. And I was like, no, 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 no. Scroll to the end where he is the same size. This is not weight loss. It's just wild. People are like, men get facelifts. Men get facelifts all the time, especially when your job is to look like Brad Pitt.
Yeah. Well, it pisses me off though, because this guy has been a Greek god his entire life. Like the only way us other guys have a chance to catch up with him is if he's not allowed to get surgery like this. Because I was sitting there going, how does this
You're waiting
dude?
for him to get ugly.
Oh, but that's what I pray every day. And the thing is, he looks better. Like I was like, shit, he now looks younger than I do, and I'm way younger than Brad Pitt. And that was like, I was even in admiration of how I was like, damn, that guy looks good again. Like, not that he's ever looked bad.
Right. But I mean, also think about the pressure of being Brad Pitt. And then when you stop looking
Oh,
like Brad Pitt,
Dana, stop the pressure to be
no,
Brad
no,
Pitt.
to be back to what he was, I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
at
yeah.
some point we started to be like, oh, he looks a little,
Yeah,
age is
yeah, yeah.
catching up. Maybe the cigarettes are catching up. And then he was like, I got to get back to it.
Oh my God. Well, I was hats off to whoever. And not about the pressure to be Brad Pitt. Think about the pressure to be Brad Pitt's surgeon. Like, just imagine one mistake, one mistake in the work of these super celebrities. Like, if you fuck Taylor Swift's face up, that's it for your career. You're done. You're done.
Maybe, except for that, Taylor Swift is not going to say that she had surgery, and she's not going to name you. So it sucks when you do a great job and no one will tell anyone that you did the work. But if you mess up, I mean, are they going to say I went under and it was bad?
Okay, well, listen, let's get into some other. I mean, I will say, bringing up Vanderpump Rules, Tom Sandoval is somebody that's always been a big proponent of, trying to look their best using whatever means necessary. And he did shave off the mustache, as we all know. But, it seems like he's very fresh faced, and that could have been like him quitting alcohol for 8 months. Have you noticed any work with any of the Vanderpumpers lately on the new season?
I mean, they're pretty consistent and relatively open about, getting Botox fillers, Kybella. I know that I believe Katie maybe was like the face of Kybella for a minute. I'm not sure if I'm right about that. I remember Stassi.
Or was that Brittany? Was that Brittany?
Oh, Brittany. I'm sorry. You're
Brittany,
right.
yeah.
Brittany. But I think Katie maybe did chin lipo, but she always looks incredible. Actually, my husband and I were talking about how literally gorgeous Katie's face is. She's just one of the most beautiful people. And anyway.
And I think, by the way, I think she's looking the best she ever has because, and no offense to Tom Schwartz, I think because of, when you get out of her, when you get out of her, like, I mean, she even said it in one of the first episodes, listen, he's not my problem anymore. And I say that saying that it doesn't mean he's like this evil, bad, the worst in the world. But I will say in that relationship, when you get out of a relationship that's toxic or around friends that are like, it does actually help your overall look.
Right. I mean, I'm sure she's even sleeping better at night. So that's, showing everywhere. I love Katie. I always say I want to be a Lala, but I'm a Katie and I'm okay with that.
I like that we compare them like your favorite Sex and the City character. Oh, you're a Samantha. You're such a Samantha. And for the guys, we're completely fucked. Like, who do you want? Like, maybe Peter? Like, maybe Ken? Like, who do we want to? Like, if you're a guy, who do you even want to be on that cast at this point?
Well, right now, I don't know if I'm blinded by how awful some of the other guys are or if he really has just kind of blossomed. But James Kennedy is like, he's looking really good now. He's
Casa
skinny.
Kennedy, Casa. I do not drink anymore. I'm sober because it's my choice. Even though Ali left me and I told her I'd quit drinking. What do you think of Vanderpump Rules? Which, by the way, folks, if you did not watch Saturday Night Live, that's okay. It was just so as it usually is. But in the weekend update, they did a frozen embryo in regards to the insanity that's going on in Alabama right now. And the frozen embryo said, I am as cold and heartless as Tom Sandoval is. And then he went on to say, like, even I can see that this man is a narcissist. So he made a joke on Weekend Update, and I said, Tom's going to hate this because he loves to complain about things, but secretly, we all know that he's going to love it deep down because he loves being a celebrity and mentioned. And Tom's had a wild week with Vanderpump Rules, Saturday Night Live, and of course, the New York Times article, which I'm sure you read or heard about. Where do you stand on Tom Sandoval right now?
I think that he is very, very tone deaf. And he really thinks.
Wait, are you talking about his music? Are you talking about his music? What are you talking about? Yeah.
Oh, it's a double entendre. No, he when he's comparing himself, and I posted about this on my story. He was comparing and I will give him, it was a pop culture phenomenon, but he's comparing it to like social justice, civil rights, landmark legal cases. And it's like, no, baby, you're closer to Tiger Woods cheating scandal than you are to George Floyd.
That's exactly it. Dana, that's exactly it. Because that's what I was like, guys, I get that we like to be enraged, or that's like the norm nowadays with pop culture, because I think it we're politically enraged and that spills out into pop culture and everything. But I understood, but I was like, let me also posit the theory that Tom is just at the end of the day, not the brightest man in terms of speaking for himself. He's not a good speaker, nor has he ever been. And you're right. Like, you can't conflate the two. There is one, like, social justice news stories should not be compared to pop culture stories at all. And the fact that he doesn't realize that, it's probably been a hard week. Hopefully he's realized exactly why that does not work at all. But also, it's just like, guys, I'm not saying enough for him, but like, he's just not smart in this arena.
Right. Well, so what has been so wild to me was that I always saw Schwartz as like the puppy dog. Like, I call him a golden retriever. He messes up, digs in the yard, and he's like, whatever, it's fine. Like, I'll get over it. But he has been the voice of reason for Sandoval, which has been insane to me. Sandoval is complaining and telling him things. And this is not just once or twice, not once, twice, but thrice, that Schwartz is like, no, man, the optics on this, or, that is not.
He's like, dude, you could just say, just say sorry. Just say sorry, dude.
He's not even just saying, just say sorry. He's literally saying, dude, like, that is not going to work out for you if you continue down that path with that thought process. And so to hear Schwartz come out with that, I'm like, I think I really misjudged Schwartz. Like, I never thought he was dumb, but he's a lot more intelligent than I ever gave him credit to be.
Well, I mean, I agree in certain aspects of that, but I think it's so funny is like Schwartz and Lisa are both coming off as politicians right now. Is that they're literally doing backroom deals of like, here's why, yay, Tom's family, come on, he's family. You gotta, he's literally going out there like pulling people aside, kind of like on The Bachelor.
He's campaigning.
Yeah, can I pull you for a second? Lisa Vanderpump.
Will you vote for Tom today?
Yeah. Hey, can I depend on your vote for Tom? Lisa Vanderpump doing the same thing. And I think that's interesting. Like, of course, you're going to stand up for your friend, but he's really putting himself out there. And I do wonder, Schwartz, when he does read these New York Times articles and stuff like that, I wonder if he goes, man, is all the shit I try to do for this man sometimes falling on deaf ears? And I'm not saying that they shouldn't be friends, because who the F am I to say, like, who the F are any of us to say this shit? But come on, it's gotta be frustrating. He had to go and watch What Happens Live that night. It was live, and they just didn't talk about it at all. Andy just did not bring it up at all. But I imagine Schwartz going into that of going, Why does this always happen on the day when I go on live TV?
Well, it's because it happens every episode.
Well, I mean, and then at the end of this week's episode, Lisa brings out Graham, aka Hippie, because DJ James Kennedy has renamed the dog, and it was a very beautiful scene. But what we had all heard, and this is the unfortunate thing about this show being so popular and people not ruining, but people photographing and videoing,
Right.
is that my understanding was that Graham was given to DJ James Kennedy on the Tahoe trip. And what I also am hearing was that this was potentially there's something messy with this. There's something that this might not have been the actual truth, the actual reuniting of Graham and DJ James Kennedy. Have you heard anything about this?
Well, I remember when it was first like happening that I'm trying to recall exactly, but basically that maybe Rachel or her family had given him up and maybe were like sent him to a foster, maybe the foster.
Well, so Rachel was in the mental health facility. The parents were looking after it. Supposedly, Graham bit the mom to the bone.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and if you listen to Rachel's podcast, I think the first episode she deals with all of this. And Rachel said, I still have a lot of work here to do. So they or they rehomed the dog with like somebody that said that they deal with these sort of animals. And then
I always wondered why didn't they reach out to James? Like why?
Well, Rachel said DJ James Kennedy is, in Rachel's opinion, she did not want Graham with DJ James Kennedy and said DJ James Kennedy was the one that built up that dog's aggressiveness, would always like push, like really the first episode, she deals with that issue towards the end of it.
I'm not going to lie, I don't listen to her podcast.
No. And nor should, but by the way, nor should you. There's enough recaps out there that you can read it, but I did listen to it. And I will say, like I said, I'm no Rachel apologist. God, no. But Rachel is a way better communicator now, way better than Tom Sandoval. And I think that is probably the biggest advertisement for mental health therapy and check-ins than anything else, because she is telling a more clear story that Sandoval can. She actually seems to be cognizant of what she went through and what she herself participated in, even though I disagree with certain aspects of it. But she says, like, I would never want Graham with DJ James Kennedy, but who knows? Like, I'm always of the thing of like, you can change, you can do this, like I want to believe the best in people. Dealing with Bravo has not beaten that out of me yet.
Right.
But so that's the interesting thing. I just heard that like even Sheena on her Amazon Live a while back said like, oh yeah, Graham was reunited with DJ James Kennedy in Tahoe. So there's like this underground rumor thing going. Is this a scene that was filmed just for the show after DJ James Kennedy already? I don't know, but it is.
If it is, then he did a good job with his fake crying. Maybe he should be an actor.
Well, he kind of is. He's a very emotional man, which I love. I'm the same way, but like, I do think, there's a reality show and then there's reality. And I think it's like really murky sometimes because I think we are seeing I don't know. Anyway, so what is your take on this season so far? Because I hear so many people bitching about it and moaning about it and, oh, it's so this and that. But I'm like, guys, this is actually what's happening in their lives and they're not a real friend group anymore. So what else would we be seeing?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm liking it. I don't know. Okay, so here, let me just kind of tell you how I feel about the whole like friend group thing. The fact that people think that no one should ever be friends with Sandoval or ever forgive Rachel is insane to me, because at the end of the day, what they did was cheat. And I'm not saying I condone cheating. I'm not saying that, but this is not a, we can never, ever, ever be friends with you again. Like, we've all had friends who've cheated on their partners that we're also close friends with. We've all had that. I understand that it costs strain and like a breakup in the group, but to believe that they need to be never friends again is unrealistic. The only person that I see that should be like, no, fuck you, Tom, like we are never, ever, ever, ever talking, is Ariana, because it happened to her. It didn't happen to Lala.
Yes.
Like DJ James Kennedy, I understand that he was betrayed, but him and Rachel, I mean, to the best of my knowledge, they're already broken up. They weren't.
It's the greatest betrayal. It's the greatest betrayal.
Right. Katie, I can kind of get it because she's going through her own
Yeah.
divorce breakup, and
She was
that's
married to
her
this guy. Why would you?
ex-husband's best friend. Like,
Yes.
I get. So Katie, great. Ariana, absolutely. But Lala, like
Dude,
Shayna, like why? They don't need to never speak to him again. They didn't physically and personally and emotionally do something to them.
yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
and by the way, I want to point out also Ariana like made her like, hey, I don't want to be friends with people that are like going to be in that friends with him. But also she says people can do whatever they want, she says. But I also that's why I think there's a world in which I don't know if Ariana will be on the show again next season or would even want to be, because in what fucking reality would we encourage any of our girlfriends or guy friends that were cheated on behind the like of 7 or 8 months
right,
of a relationship on national TV? I don't care how much money you made off of this. Like
right.
everybody keeps saying like, oh, she made money, so it's okay. No, it's not. Like, by the way, we should actually be going, good on you, girl, for standing up for yourself and keeping it that way. And like, the fact is, like, Schwartz is like, I didn't listen. I'm not an accessory to this. Actually, Tom, that's exactly what you were, because you knew exactly the night after it happened the first time. You knew. That's what we call an accessory, even if your
Right.
heart was in the right place. So the fact that Schwartz is even getting a little uppity about Ariana, going like, dude, can you not see that she did consider you a friend? And that's why it hurts her so much. And she cannot talk to you again, because why would we then put ourselves back in that situation?
And not just that, because every time you're going to talk to her, you're going to talk to her about bringing him back into the group and like, can he go on this trip with us? You know, like you're not even talking to me about my feelings and what I'm going through. You're trying to campaign for Tom.
Well, that's it. I mean, that's why it's funny. Like, and like you said, even with Katie, this is her ex-husband now. Like, they obviously have a decent relationship, but Katie doesn't want to be best friends with this guy. Like, in what world would you be like, I want to keep going on vacations with my ex-husband on
Right.
TV? Like, you got to think about the actual reality of that. So I've always tried to tell the audience at this point, if you watch this show knowing that they're all potentially trying to escape from this show, it's much more fun to watch, because it is like they are chained to this show. It's like a horror story.
Right. But I will say, I do think Ariana is done. I don't think there's anything left for her on the show. Even I know she's really good friends with Katie, obviously, but she's not actually that close with anyone else on the show. Even before, like
Yeah.
Tom was kind of her, like that was her chain. And so, and I love Ariana. So please, people, do not come for me. I'm not saying that I am happy to see her go, but I don't think there's anything left for her on the show. She's already proving herself, you know,
That's
with like
what,
the
yes,
stars and
man.
like
I
whatever.
feel like
She has
she's,
other opportunities. Yeah, she might have
yeah.
her own talk show. I don't know. She's funny. She's witty. She's good with words. Who knows? But I think she's outgrown the show.
And by the way, outgrown, and I want to clear, outgrown the show, but that doesn't mean she thinks she's above the show.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
I just
just,
think there's
no,
nothing
no, no.
for her. There's
I
nothing
know
left.
exactly what you mean. And I also think what she's done with this is she's picked the right opportunities to make herself more of a name. And that's the name of the game, you guys. Like, even for me or Dana, it's all about, like, I guess, it's brand recognition and, convincing companies that you're okay to work with. And, Ariana's made these right decisions of hosting a couple episodes of Love Island, Dancing with the Stars, Broadway. Her Broadway run got extended because they actually brought in the most box office than they had in years. So all
Right.
of these things like build to a better career, because I hate to break it to everybody out there, what we're seeing, and Brandi Glanville, if you're listening, this goes directly to you. Reality TV and being a star on it is not meant to go forever. Let's all think about
Exactly.
that. It's not meant
Exactly.
to be the rest of your life.
It's like the TV shows that have entirely too many seasons. Like there's only so many seasons of Grey's Anatomy before it's till we're sick of
Well,
it. You need to move on.
Dana, Grey's Anatomy is still on TV.
I know. I stopped at like season 4 or 5. I
I
don't
know,
even
me
know.
too.
Oh
Me too.
my
And then
god.
I was
I was
like,
like,
it's up
this
to
is too
season
much. It's
20
getting
now.
wild. It's getting insane. Like it's not even fun anymore. But I mean, so to bring it to like regular people context, it's like working at a company where you've like, is it topped out? Yeah, like you there's no more. You can't, there's no more room to move up. Like above you is just the CEO. Like where are you going to go? Where near Ariana, you don't really have any connections with many people on the show anymore, like Katie, but like you're not that close to anyone else. You want to move up, you want to move on, you want to make more money, you want to
Well, that's how we are in our normal jobs. Like we
Yes,
go
in
to
our
our
normal
normal
jobs.
jobs
Right.
and
It's
we
like you're not
want to
gonna
actually, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Like
a
when
promotion. You don't wanna stay at the same place for 25 years in the same role. You wanna move
Well, what
on.
scares me though is that a lot of these people, we see it with housewives particularly, is that they get off the show and then they do everything in their power to try to get back on the show, and then when that doesn't work, they start bad mouthing the show and they start, the cut. Like people don't seem
Just
to
say
understand.
Bethany. Just say Bethany.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to start chewing with my mouth open while I talk about in this segment. No, it is
Guys,
very
Bravo is awful.
well. No, it's just so funny. Like it's a double-edged sword because they get these great characters that have like these, it's so funny, so they make such good TV moments, but their egos are so big, which makes them a good housewife or reality star. But then on the flip side, when that ends, that ego is still there. That all of that stuff that we love them for is still there, but now it's working against them because you see the desperation. And that's why, even though we all like, everybody can be like, oh, this Heather Gay, oh, the social media, it's so much. It's so, yeah, like it can be really negative. I experience it myself. It can be completely negative and horrible. But at the end of the day, there still must be something so alluring about it that it is worth all of that because nobody is running away from it. They are running towards it.
Well, I mean, it's the money, and they're not in it just for the money. Obviously, it's the fame and recognition. I mean, I think about it like a professional athlete. At some point, you age out. Your body cannot continue to run miles and miles or like get tackled. At some point, you age out.
These housewives are getting
And
CTE. Their brains are broken. Yeah.
I mean, listen, with some of the things that they go through, I'm sure they do have CTE, or at least PTSD. But it's like
Putsta is Dorit.
Yeah,
You've got
but like,
putsta.
But like athletes, when they retire and then sometimes they don't know what to do with themselves, all they've known since, forever was football or basketball or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then when they're out of it, they're like, now what do I do? If they're really charismatic, if they're, if they've been planning, if they're really good at it, they might become like, sports talk, like radio host or like whatever. But what do they do? And it's not even about the money at that point. I just feel like they don't have purpose. And so that's what I feel like happens with housewives is they're like, I wanted to move on. There was nothing left for me, but now that I'm out of it, now what do I do? And usually their kids are grown. Like look at Kyle, like her kids are grown. She's going through probably a divorce. If she were to leave the show now, she would probably feel like she lost everything because husband gone, kids grown, show that she's been on for longer than most people are at any job. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, what's your purpose? And so
Kyle's done 13 seasons from the very, very beginning. Right. We're going to talk about Kyle in one sec. The last thing about Vanderpump Rules. Do you look at your husband the way Billy Lee looks at Tom Sandoval doing a cold plunge? Because I've never seen such admiration and lust from a man getting into cold water. Billy Lee was like, like thought it like it was like a magical being she was watching. It was wild.
Also, imagine just sitting outside of a tub while someone is freezing their body. Like, I don't know.
How intense is it?
That whole thing was weird. Like, I thought that they were going to cold plunge together. Like, not in the same tub, but usually
yeah.
tubs, and I thought they were going to do it together.
Hey, come watch me cold plunge.
Yes. It's so weird. I don't know.
But also, you could be a friend.
Like, I don't know if she's okay.
Well, you can be a friend to Tom and not look at him like he's the greatest thing that's ever happened on this earth. Like, I was like, maybe this isn't the tough love that Tom needs from his friends. Like, like if this is like the people supporting him, like I almost like Kyle Chan like made a little bit of sense like a couple weeks ago and like pointing out things in an episode. But this Billy Lee seems like she'll agree with anything that Tom says, like anything that like, and I was like, that's kind of wild. There should be a little pushback potentially.
Right. But I mean, I don't know if she's just like super in love with him. She wants to be on the show. It's a combination. I don't know what that is, but it made me very uncomfortable. I was like, this is weird.
Two things can be true at once. Right. Okay, moving on to Beverly Hills. We had the finale this week at SoFi Stadium. Mauricio obviously didn't know if it was going to be in the parking lot or the actual stadium, so he was surprised. He didn't know where his wife was the entire time. And this was a big production, $400,000 budget. We had Kevin Lee, she back in action. It was great to see him. Erica Jane is back. She is back. Well, I mean, she does one song at a SoFi Stadium. She's like, which, by the way, good on her. Great. I have no, like, whatever. But we have a 3-part reunion starting this Wednesday, and we have gotten the trailer for it. In fact, the first 7 minutes are online right now. And in the trailer, Dorit tells Erica Jane of like, Kyle sent me a text last night trying to silence me. And, there's a lot of speculation going on right now. And the speculation, I think, not only about Mauricio and Kyle, but about Kyle and Morgan Wade. Now, Dana, did you see, I think it was Face Reality 16 as the Instagram account that I first saw this on, was that Morgan Wade was was at Watch What Happens Live this past Wednesday for Kyle's appearance. And they do this little step and repeat on the Watch What Happens Live background. And you see Morgan place her hand in a very familiar place. If you are very close to someone, it was like half on the butt, half on the hip. And, it's a very relationship-y kind of pose. Did you see this?
Right. I did see it, but that's not the only thing that made me think they're in a relationship. Kyle is acting like a teenager.
She's giddy. Yeah.
Right? She's sitting, when she was saying that, like, oh no, we're just friends, and like I'm getting tattoos with friends. You're getting multiple tattoos with your one person. You're sitting on her lap. You're being more touchy-feely. Like, Teddy Mellencamp was your absolute best friend ever, and I've never seen you sit on her lap. I've never seen you like canoodle with her. This is weird.
Dorit's livid. Dorit's like, this should be me.
I know.
We were close.
The best friend.
Do I have to get a tattoo of your initial on me for you to pay attention to me?
Right. Yeah. No, that is not friend behavior. That is not. And if it were, that's weird because you only she was doing that within a couple months of meeting her. You know what I mean?
Well, Dayton, see, I'm confused on the timeline too, because Dorit had a talking head this season where she said, I remember Morgan from years ago. We were at a party and Mauricio was there. Like, she brings this up. So I was like, how long has Morgan Wade? How long has she been around? Because I know in the episode earlier in the season at the tattoo place, Morgan's like, she stalked me. And I was like, great, but it seems like she's been around that. I'd love to. My Morgan. I'm Morgan Wade.
The first time I ever heard her talk, I was like, this can't be real. And I'm from Tennessee, and I have a Southern accent, and I have friends who have more dramatic Southern accents, and I was like, this sounds like a spoof. There's no way. Apparently.
I also want to point out, while I'm talking about this, just to make it very clear, I don't care who Kyle is doing the hippity dippity with. If she is gay, if she is bi, if she is straight, I don't care as long as she's happy. So that is not anything. But I will say, I'm going to talk about it, and I want them to be in a relationship because I want Morgan Wade to be back on the show next season.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, damn right, as a couple. And by the way, that's what I wanted to talk about. Now, there was a blind that Demois had, and there was also a lot of speculation in regards to a certain aspect of the trailer when Sutton goes, ugh, and it looks like she's seen a ghost. There is a little shot of a flannel from the background. I think this is Face 16 as well. A little shot of flannel, and made a point that Morgan Wade is one of the only people that wears flannel in that circle.
She was wearing flannel at something. Yeah.
And we know Kyle is asked about Morgan Wade by Andy at the reunion. So there is speculation that there is going to be an announcement that she is in a relationship with Morgan Wade. This could be completely bullshit, and that we might be getting a People cover about it. We might be getting certain things. And I was just thinking, going down my own little rabbit hole in my head of, what if, obviously this has been going on a while, and I'm not saying cheating, because Mauricio and Kyle, whether anybody wants to believe it or not, Kyle has said, we knew what was happening going into this season. I didn't know how to lie. I don't have a good poker face. So they knew they were already separated at the beginning of the season. So I think this relationship has been going on, and I think it has been let me get through the season, and then we will make this. I need to make sure my family is protected. I need to make sure, because the one thing you even know in that finale, they want to protect their family. It's not good for us reality show viewers, but I understand what they're trying to do. So I believe in the next 3 weeks, you will have I don't know if it's coming out, but if it's a coming out of their relationship, I believe that will be happening. What do you think?
I think so too, but do you think it's going to be shocking? Like, do you think it's going
to some people? To some people, I don't. not to Bravo fan. I mean, I don't think to Bravo fans it'll be shocking. I mean,
Does she have fans outside of Bravo?
you know what? I am so desensitized. I don't even know what the crossover is anymore. Like, I don't even, like, I mean, if I told my dad, he'd be like, what the hell are you talking? Like, I'm so ashamed of you still. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
I just feel like if I was like, it's Paris Hilton's mom's sister, it's Paris Hilton's aunt, they'd be like, okay.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like I don't know. And I'm not trying to take down, like, obviously she is huge to us, but I feel like it's kind of like when everyone started to realize who Travis Kelce was, like, you know, all these like
Yeah, by the way, I'm not a
fans.
sports guy. I knew about
I
Travis
knew who
Kelce
he
because of
was because I
Taylor.
thought he was so cute. I
Oh
was
my
like a cute
God.
football player. Actually went on a brand trip with his ex-girlfriend, Kayla Nicole.
Oh, the one that's always like unfollowed him on Instagram and all that stuff.
She
Yeah.
is every bit of like stunning in real life as she is in her pictures. Like, holy crap. Wow. Yeah. So I got to go to Italy with her. Not with
You went on a fucking brand trip to Italy, Dana?
Yes, I
What
did.
the
Shout
hell,
out to
dude?
Alana Eve. It's a black-owned luxury dress brand based out of Atlanta, I believe.
Listen, I got a promo box from Stanley. I got my own Stanley mug and a hat and a shirt. But like, and I love it. I love Stanley. But like, send me on a trip, you guys. Like, where are you going? Like, I'll even go to Michigan or something. Like, send me.
They should be able to, like, you know, maybe Montana. Like, they should be able to afford that with all the like sorority girls like walking around with their giant like trash cans.
Just me out there with a bunch of ladies, just in my Stanley gear.
Like, the people of Bravo love Stanley.
But I mean, like, we'll get back to Beverly Hills in a sec, but like, what is it like as you move up in the quote unquote influencer world and are going on brand trips? And I'm sure this is something that you could have never imagined for yourself. But I mean, is it, you know, because sometimes I feel, and I'm not organized or anything like that, but it's exhausting. Like, it's exhausting. But how do you feel like, you know, every day with doing all of this?
Well, I've only been on one brand trip, so
knock on wood. There's going to be many more brand trips to come.
I know, but my first and only was Italy, so I feel like
that's pretty big.
You know, yeah. I don't know. It was just a bizarre world. And, you know, here are all these like literally gorgeous girls who are taking a million pictures. And we got to bring a plus one, so I got to bring my best friend. And
not your husband?
Like, what?
Not your husband?
No, yeah. Well, she wanted girls so that she could put us all in dresses and stuff.
Gotcha.
I got my best friend Keely, and we were over here like, oh, we're in Italy. We're gonna go shopping. We're gonna eat. We're gonna, you know, do all the touristy stuff. And all the girls that were like way more serious. And that's when I was like, am I not serious about my career? They're like, oh, I have 4 outfits. I'm gonna go here and take pictures and there and take pictures. Yeah. And they're like running around. And I'm over here like, I can't wait to have like a real coffee from Italy.
Well, that's the thing too. I was gonna ask, like, is everybody out there just like filming and like, you're getting into my shot? You're getting into my shot. Like, is everybody just have their cameras out filming content nonstop?
Constantly. And like literally one of the most beautiful girls I've ever seen in my life. She was in Sports Illustrated. She is amazing. She took pictures of me, like every picture. I was like, oh, I love. She's like, no, we could do better. Like, turn your head. Like, she was like directing me. Incredible pictures. And then we took all these pictures of her, like literally, I'm not exaggerating, 1,000 pictures in like one outfit. And I was like, you have to like one of these. She's just like, honestly, I don't like, but she's like, I always do this. I take between 300 and 1,000 pictures. And then I pick one. She's like, I usually have to sleep on it. And then I'll find one that I think is like salvageable. And when I tell you, she looks like a literal Barbie doll.
Yeah.
In real life. Sports Illustrated. Come on.
I love that all these people, and then they know how to edit everything together. Like, I think one time, like if influencer industry crashes, some of these people could go like edit for Martin Scorsese or something like that. Like, I love that all of these models know how to like edit now, you know?
I can edit. Every time the Kardashians mess up, I'm like, is this on purpose or do you need me to edit for you? I will sell my soul, Kris Jenner. That's I'll edit for you.
Okay, this is good. Say the Kardashians said, Dana, we do want you to come edit for us, but you need to shut down your account. Would you do it?
If they had a guarantee for millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars, where like, sure.
But you can't talk to anybody about it. You can't be interviewed about it. We're not going to tell people that you did it.
I'm going to do interviews that I shut down my account because I became independently wealthy. Like, what are going to say? I'm now a socialite. Look at Kylie's, like, actually all of them, all of their like personal assistants are now like influencers. I'll be like, send me on a brand trip. I'm independently wealthy now.
That's they're like,
all of this work is natural.
It's funny. It's like a feeder system into being a successful influencer. I wanted to read you the text that got leaked that Dorit is talking about in regards to Kyle. So this is kind of long, so bear with me, folks. And I'm not going to do my Kyle voice of, hi, I've been trying to reach. No, hi, I've been trying to reach out because I know we are in a weird place and it really bothers me, Dorit. And it's not even on the show. I wanted to explain where I am and why I've been distant, but my hands were tied. Of course, some interview comments hurt my feelings and created more issues for me, but I am used to that and could get past it in time. I also reminded myself that you didn't know what I was going through with Mo at the time. It is frustrating to me as it will be to you. Trust me, I have gone through such a hard time to read. I've been in so much pain, I can't tell you. Never have I felt so low, and I know you are going through a hard time. Normally, I would have reached out to check on you, but I was hurt and very depressed. I've spent 30 years with Mo, married 28, and I have no idea how to live without him or how to navigate through life on my own because I have so much on my plate for tomorrow, which is the reunion she's referring to, and I know you do too. I love you, PK, and your kids so much, except for Jagger. No, I'm joking. She didn't put that. I've been thinking about you a lot and hoping... I've been thinking about you a lot and hoping hoping you aren't struggling too much. I don't want to lose someone else in my life over a TV show. They don't even know we are going through a hard time, so I don't see the need to bring it up there. I should have said something sooner, but I honestly haven't been strong enough. But relationships and you are more important to me than Beverly Hills, and I don't feel like bringing it for the something at our expense, especially when we have enough battles to handle it as is. And then they blacked out something. But relationships and you are more important. Okay, anyway, I would like to sit down and talk after we go through tomorrow. Maybe have lunch or dinner when you can. If you want to talk before tomorrow, I am around. I would give anything not to go and have to do this. I don't know how much longer I can do this show. It's so toxic and creates so much anxiety for me. Anyway, let me know if you want to talk. So Kyle sent this the day before the reunion, and this is what Dorit is referring to. And like, Kyle's trying to silence me. Obviously, she's referring to an issue between Dorit and Kyle that was not on the show. And she also referred to, and we didn't read it referred to a very specific situation that went down with them. So I don't know if that will be brought up. What were your thoughts hearing that?
I have known Kyle to be this person. Vanderpump, not personally, obviously. Vanderpump, or Lisa Vanderpump, has said that Kyle produces her show, her storyline. That's what she does, and that she has, very like calculated her, what she wants to show, what she doesn't show. I 100% truly believe. I've had so many followers who have said that they have, had affairs with Mauricio.
For like a decade plus now.
Yes, but that they have an open relationship. That just the one of the boundaries was just not in Beverly Hills, right? Like when he's traveling, which is why he frequents. Like when he's in Dallas, there's a specific hotel,
or Scottsdale, or
Toronto, New York, or some of his or Miami's one of his favorites. I have had followers, specifically a guy who said he has had an on and off thing. He's younger with Kyle in New York City. And so I really believe that they have always had this open relationship. But when it was on the show, she wanted to portray a certain thing. And anytime, and Lisa had kind of hinted, Brandi had kind of hinted that there were things that we didn't know.
Wait, pause, Dana, pause 1 second. Pause 1 second. Brandi. Okay, remember when Denise Richards was on the show and she came back and she said, Brandi told me she's actually slept with another housewife and you wouldn't believe it? There is speculation that Brandi could, but by the way, I don't know. I don't really trust Brandi that much, but she could have been speculating about Kyle and Mauricio.
Yeah, I can see that.
Sorry to interrupt you. That was just something that I didn't want to.
No. It has been, hinted at and brought up, but like never brought up to where Kyle has to actually address it. And Kyle's had a lot of things happen that she's never had to address, which is just wild to me. That's one of the problems I have with Beverly Hills, is that they don't address a lot of situations. Whereas in New York, Potomac, Salt Lake City, they get to the nitty gritty. They blast everything, mention it all. And then in Beverly Hills, they're like, oh, no.
Well, I think they're so, I mean, you've got somebody that's been there 13 seasons and you've got somebody that like obviously is going through something very painful. And I do understand it from a kid's standpoint of you have these daughters that you are trying to protect, but but I will say I was frustrated when I saw that trailer for Buying Beverly Hills season 2 with Mauricio and the daughters. And I felt like we got a stronger conversation out of the scene that I watched last week of that about this than I did with Kyle. I've also heard rumors about Mauricio actually being potentially a switch hitter too. Like I've heard I mean, but I've just heard
enough. He should. I mean, if he isn't,
well, listen, I don't.
All the gay guys out there.
Wait, so what do you think it? What do you think it was? Do you think he accidentally didn't check like a zip code? He's like, I love being. I didn't know she lived in Beverly Hills. She told me it was Covina. She told me I didn't know.
I mean, I heard like weird rumors about Kendra Wilkinson. She was going to work for him, and that didn't last. And I don't know. Obviously,
did you hear the Morgan Wade's ex-husband works for the agency? Did you see that?
No. Morgan Wade was married?
Yeah, look up Morgan Wade's ex-agency.
Everything I know about Morgan is against my will.
What are you talking about, Dana? I think it should be for your will. I like you.
You know, you sound like
like Morgan. What are you talking about?
Yes, but also is it
Kermit?
I was gonna say, is it American Dad or Family Guy? One of the like side characters.
Yeah. I think I know who you're talking about, but no, I'm just trying to swallow every word I say. It's like Don Knotts. Anyways, so you're hearing all of these rumors. I'm hearing all these rumors, and I want to tell people these are just rumors. And by the way, when you do keep a united front like Mauricio and Kyle are doing, we'll never know the truth. And that is like the thing. And the conversation I have in my own head is that, you know, there's no law saying that we do deserve to know. Like I would like to know. It would be exciting because we're on reality television, but it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about people being a reality star for the remainder of their lives. Like there's no rules on any of this stuff. So we're seeing it in real time because this is still fairly a new industry, reality TV over the last 3 decades. So there is no like rules set in place. Kyle is doing this great job, as she usually does, of keeping the most interesting things about her under a tight, like, you know, very close to the vest. But it's so funny because even that breaks free because we see how giddy she is around Morgan. So even the audience then is gaslit because you're like, wait a sec, why are you wondering why we're curious when you're fucking acting like you've never seen she's like a piece of meat.
If you want it to be private, why are you playing in our fucking faces? Don't play in our face.
Yeah, don't you understand why we would think this? If you did a music video, if you did all of this shit, then we're like, oh, we're crazy because we think this? We're horrible people?
Yes, she's like a toxic boyfriend. Oh my God. So I sent you that screenshot of that tweet or that thread or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Where they're like, I'm not about this lady, gaslight me about this, like showing like the pictures of her like kissing Morgan and like they're whatever. And she goes, it's the media's fault. What do you mean the media's fault? You keep playing in our faces. You're taking pictures. You're sitting on her lap. You're showing off tattoos. You're, going to make a documentary.
We need Kyle to get in a conversation with Tom Sandoval. I need Kyle and Tom to complain to each other about what's going on right now.
And they're both going to be like, no, stop talking about you.
Yeah, let me go.
I want to bring this up. This is how you know you are like so important to someone that they're your fan. How many times did she bring up and mock Lisa Vanderpump over her party? First of all, you had a Lisa Vanderpump style party. You used her party planner, and then there's no way.
The fact she brought up Lisa Vanderpump 3 or 4 times in the finale kind of started to make me livid because I'm like, this is where reality stars, they have such big egos. They don't even realize when they're telling on themselves. Like this ain't making you look great. Just go have your party and let Lisa be jealous of it. Don't bring her name because then it means all the time you're just constantly thinking about her.
Right, but exactly. Like she's living rent free in her head. But like, you mean to tell me, like, listen, I've lived 34 years. I don't have the money that she has, but you mean to tell me you paid $400,000 for a party and you didn't know it was going to say Kyle on the floor? Because when you have a $400,000 party, they're over here like, do you want off-white or slightly eggshell white napkins?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like every detail. Do you want like quarter lace trim or eighth lace trim? Like, Are you kidding me? You didn't know it was going to say Kyle, and it very weirdly looked like Kylie Cosmetics font. Like
I know, dude. Dana, I said that in my recap. I said without my glasses originally when I first saw it, I was like, oh my god, Kris Jenner's gonna sue. They're using Kylie's name, and then I was like, oh god,
right?
Yes.
Or maybe Kris Jenner like donated it. Maybe it used to be like the floor that was in Kylie Cosmetics before. Like,
yeah.
But you mean to
can I just borrow the letters KYLE? You can keep the I. Yeah.
So you mean to tell me that you paid $400,000? You have this crazy, amazing like party planner and SoFi. You know it's going to be on TV, and you didn't know it was going to say Kyle. Let's be fucking for real. We're not stupid. Why do they think we're stupid? Is it because we're poor?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. We're poor. And I will tell you,
they're going to believe anything I say.
But it's not, Dana, it's not even just us, the viewers. She thinks her castmates are stupid too. Like, I want to point out, like Sutton, whether you love her or hate her, I personally love her.
Listen,
I love her.
Sutton lover.
I'm a Sutton. But
glutton
the thing is,
Sutton. Ooh, can I be a shirt? A glutton for Sutton. Anyway, sorry for that.
God, no, I love it. But the thing is, Sutton's been right this entire time of like, what's going on with your jewelry, Kyle? What's going on with this? She's asking the right questions. And like, literally we see in the when they pick back up the cameras, when she's talking to Garcelle of like, well, I don't know what's going on with Mauricio. We're getting this People magazine article. What about this country singer? It's a little bit sus. I hate that Sutton says sus like she's a 12-year-old. She's like, oh, this is a little Delulu. This is
I don't
Delulu.
know, right? I mean, she's trying to, I guess, not sound like a slave owner, apparently.
But Sutton's right. Sutton was right to be suspicious. Sutton was right.
No, yeah. And there's like a lot of studies that show that people who have Southern accents are perceived to be like less like intelligent and maybe less, I can't think of the right word right now, but she's seeing Kyle like to her core. And Kyle's like, like, mind your business. Oh, no, I'm great. Everything's perfect. Life, my town. This is my town. And then you have Son that's like, does anyone see? Like, things are not adding up.
Yeah, and Kyle's pissed because Sutton got too close. It's like those detective mysteries when they're like, oh, I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you, Sutton. Like, right. And it's easier to paint Sutton out as crazy than to actually listen to what she's saying. And that's why I think it's interesting. You have a really interesting divide in the cast right now. And Dorit is actually prime in there because I'm like, where does Dorit go next season? Because if Kyle and her's relationship's not good, like the Erica Jane, I think is hysterical that the Erica Jane, after like 3 therapy episodes, she was Kyle's therapist in that last scene. And I thought it was great. I did think that scene was actually really good. But it is funny because I think they want the viewers to really think that these people are day in, day out friends. And they are not. Right. It's they are not. They are co-workers that really at times really rely on each other through traumatic moments that are brought up on camera. But I do not believe in any world that Kyle is having Erica Jane come over on a regular basis when the cameras are down.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I would say probably the closest star is probably Teddy still to this day. Like I think that was their actual true best friendship.
We call her Freddie here. Freddie Mellencamp. Freddie Mellencamp. Which, by the way, here's another person. I always say this. Here's another person left the show, said they would not like be one of those people trying to like keep going back to the show. And shout out, Freddie does a really popular, successful podcast, but it is funny. It's another one of those people in the Housewives ecosystem that will not get out. Like they've so ingrained themselves in the ecosystem that it must be so amazing that this person cannot do anything else besides housewife related things.
Well, she wasn't really doing anything before, and she
all in.
Come on.
By the way, is All In still going? Is All In still going?
I actually looked at her profile very recently because I was trying to find. She did show that Dr. Sandra did her lower facelift and neck lift. So I was trying to find that video for somebody, and so I saw it said "All In" by Teddy. It was still in her bio, so that's what I'm basing it off of. But who knows?
Well, I've got to ask her if I can eat a cucumber today. Right? Remember those text messages that she was.
I feel like because it wasn't her decision to leave, and she wasn't on there for a very long time. I mean, she certainly wasn't like a one-hit wonder, but I feel like she maybe felt like she was going to be on there longer. She expected to be on there longer, but she just unfortunately did not translate very well on camera.
Which is not a sin. It's not a sin. Like, you can do other things. This is why the Brandi things frustrates me. It's like there's a time and place for everything, including friendships. There's seasons of friendship, but like Teddy never popped on camera. That doesn't mean that she's useless as a person. Like, that's why I find it so funny is that like some people just don't. And that's okay. And by the way, she was always just Kyle's friend. So when she eventually comes back to Beverly Hills, which I think will happen at some point, and probably to get Kyle to come back for season 14, I could see something like that happening because they're going to have to sweeten the pot if they want Kyle to continually share what's going on in because if that Morgan Wade relationship isn't true, then we're going to see single Kyle out on the town doing dates like Sutton at like dark places, so I think there's a world in which Freddie eventually does come back, but it's just going to be one of those people that's a soldier for Kyle.
Right. Like to bolster, like basically what we have with, what's her name? I always forget with, Tom, the one that was watching him in the cold plunge. What's her name?
Oh, Billy Lee.
I was going to say Joe. I was like, no, that's Schwartz. I don't know why I cannot.
We met Joe for the first time this week too. Another person that just looks at these men like they could do no wrong in the world, which is, everybody needs that. God, I only have 5 more minutes with you, don't I? Damn it. We didn't even get to Love is Blind.
I mean, I have 30 minutes. I always just 90 minutes for you.
Just tell me when you go. Cause this is so fun. Are you having a good time? I love this.
I block out an hour and a half because we always go way over.
I know, but guys, if you don't know, she's trying to, she couldn't almost do this, but she did it for me because she has like a whole thing to go to after this. So I really appreciate it, but this is so fun. I always get so excited talking to you. Beverly Hills, we're going to see, we'll see what's up, but there is, then let's just get to Brandi Glanville really quick and then Love is Blind. Brandi Glanville, her lawyers, Mark Garagos and Brian Friedman, fired a warning letter off at NBC Universal and Bravo this past week, saying that they have ruined Brandi's reputation. Sorry that I'm laughing. And Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Morocco. This all revolves around Caroline Manzo. We've read those court documents on this show about a month ago. If you want to go back and check that out, really harrowing stuff from Caroline's account. Brandi this whole time says, "You're affecting my livelihood. I had to do OnlyFans because of this." All of this stuff. And then this warning shot, I made a video pointing out these are the same lawyers that Bethany Frankel hired for her reality reckoning. Bethany, of course, went on a TikTok tirade all weekend long. So she loves this. I mean, we talk about ego, talk about potential narcissism. Bethany, this is like where she thrives.
Bethany is ego. Like next.
This is thrilling. She loves this stuff. I mean, it really thrives in these circumstances. So Andy Cohen, there was a video that said Brandi felt so horrible and, really made her in a weird place because Andy Cohen is one of her bosses, sent her a sexual video. And it was really like, it didn't include the video, but it made it seem like, oh, this could be anything. It really seemed damning. And Andy Cohen literally came out. I talked about this on Friday's show and said, hey, this is what it was. Kate Chastain was there with me. We were joking. And Brandi's response, you will see that she was joking back with us. Right. Now, I do want to say right at the bat, at this point, Andy Cohen, I think, knows you got to stop that shit. You can't be, you can be friendly, but you can't be that friendly. Even if Brandi is the sexual aggressor most of the time, does not mean you can do that. I mean, I think that's just obvious to everyone. But I do not think that he should be fired. They're calling for his firing. What do you think?
Right. So I believe all of that actually happened, but I believe that like the context is what matters. And so what I think is, first of all, Andy has like very much blended his relationship with these women, right? And to the point where sometimes we don't even have effective like reunions because he's more of like the friend than he is like the partial like mediator, right? And, they went to his baby showers or like getting naked and dancing or whatever.
They celebrated him like he was the king. Yeah.
Yes. Like there's a lot of overlap. And then, so this is what I believe. And also I haven't seen the video. What I think is that there's a lot of these like blurred lines in like boundaries, friendship, job, work, boss, employee, like blended everywhere. And they all in general make these jokes that would cross a boundary in everyday, like with your boss or, your friend or whatever. And so these things happened, but she was joking that way to Caroline Manzo, who did not, she has stronger boundaries and doesn't like make those jokes and make those, like that blurring of lines. And so when she said, Brandi did these things to me and it was not okay. Brandi was probably like, what? We do that all the time. This is what we do at Bravo.
That's my bit. That's my catchphrase.
Like
In
Andy
sexual,
does it, whoever else does it. We do splits on tables. We take off tops. We, throw things. Like I feel like she felt like she didn't understand that what she did crossed her boundary. So then she was like, well, you know what? People cross that boundary to me. And I think that's what happened, honestly.
Well, my personal theory is that I think Bethany Frankel obviously reached out, said, you can use these lawyers. And by the way, Mark Garagos, an insanely pit bullish kind of lawyer, represented Scott Peterson in the past, represented a lot, really. But it was interesting. So Andy apologized immediately and, apologized. But then the next day, Brian Friedman, one of Brandi's attorneys, literally was like, no, fuck that. Any boss who is clearly inebriated encouraging their employee by FaceTime video to watch their boss have sex with another employee constitutes sexual harassment, plain and simple, under any definition, even one concocted by NBC. Why is Andy Cohen getting a pass? Any other supervisor at Comcast NBC who engaged in this behavior would be fired immediately on the spot. Now, this is what they put out immediately, said, hey, it's not good enough that you apologize. It's now we're going to put it out. And this is something, the other thing that the first letter did, they brought up Matt Lauer. Bethany Frankel keeps bringing up Matt Lauer. But I want people to say, like, when somebody brings something up, that is a very specific thing to be put in your mind. But I want everybody to then go back and look at the Matt Lauer case. It is completely different. I think there is a world in which it's almost like Tom Sandoval comparing things to George Floyd. These are, by the way.
Or it doesn't even have to be that serious. It's Tom Sandoval comparing it to James Kennedy having sex in his bed. It's like, those are two very
that's way better, Dana. That's a way better comparison than what I did.
It on paper it can maybe seem like the same thing, but it is not the same thing at all.
No, but they want us to be enraged. They want us to not look into it any further. And I guys, I know I run
public opinion matters, right?
And I do want to make you aware that I am aware that I'm a guy, that I do not speak for women. What women have to go through is so much different and so much scarier on a daily basis in terms of harassment. So I don't want to take away that. Like, I don't want to. I do want to say that, come on, like,
I know it was very inappropriate and he shouldn't do that. And at least like moving forward, he needs to have way 100%. More defined boundaries as the boss, or he needs to step away if he wants.
And Andy, change your number. Do not let these people text you. Like I remember I was at Watch What Happens Live and he does this little Q&A at the beginning. It was a Monday and I said, hey, who housewives related were you texting with this weekend? And he said, Ramona. And he wasn't like he was excited about it. He was like, Ramona. And then he was surprised. He said, Kelly Dodd. And I was like, oh my God, how do these people still have your fucking number? Change your number. I didn't say that, but I was like, how, you can't be like, I know it's exciting because these are fun women. These are fun. Like Jax Taylor is so fun, but you can't have these kind of relationships. But also Andy is not, I want to point out, Andy is not the head of Bravo as much as everybody thinks he is. Right. Like he is a figurehead. He is an executive producer on some shows, and he used to have much more of a hand in everything Bravo. But as his visibility raised, the Watch What Happens Live, one of his main gigs, and he does participate, but not at the level that they're trying to paint him out as participating in these letters. And it's very, to me, Bethany Frankel coded.
No, I agree. And I also feel like that, that shows in the reunions, like when you see earlier reunions, how much more investment he has versus now it's like, this is my friend, so I'm not going to ask her the hard questions. This one, she gets on my nerves. I'm going to, and he has, all the interns that have written up the questions, I don't know. It's just different.
But also, he doesn't like Jennifer Aiden. He doesn't like Jennifer Aiden from Jersey. It's obvious. He keeps Jennifer Aiden. Yeah. But I'm saying, like, she's not fired because he doesn't like her. Like, it's not that insane. It's not that insane.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, you can tell that it has blended into like a personal relationship on like
yes.
And that is the problem. Right?
He's very close with Kyle.
Right. Exactly. Which is why she doesn't get the hard questions.
It's going to be interesting, the reunion, to watch that. Yeah.
We'll see. But I mean, I don't know. He admitted, like, he was like, what I did was wrong. Like, 2020 hindsight, that was wrong. I shouldn't have done that. It's inappropriate. And moving forward, he should define those boundaries and not do that any further. But I do think that it isn't what it's being made out to be. And I feel like it's reactionary from Brandi because of how much shit she's gotten because of what she did, because she didn't realize she was crossing boundaries. Like, she's just so sometimes
Well,
like,
because like,
you
why
know,
do they
boy
keep
kind
casting
of
me on
stuff.
this show? But like, this is what, as an audience, guys, we like, think about it. We've all, and I don't want to hurt Brandi Glanville's feelings, but she is like, it's like DJ James Kennedy. If at no point you're going to realize alcohol is very bad for you, it is. I mean, I'll go on her Twitter at night when she's like drunk tweeting, which, by the way, she scrubbed a lot of that shit since the suit. She'll always misspell shit. She'll always, and I'll be like, oh, Brandy's drinking wine right now. Like, and it's never like a joke. Like, but I'm like, I just have that thought in my head. Like, oh, she's fucked up right now. Like, and we've seen that behavior again and again. And if you're not going to take any personal responsibility for your own behavior, that to me is where like, I start to get a little cloudy. And also the dependency. She even said, listen, you're affecting my livelihood. So this is a desperate move by a potential desperate person. And I think
who's also being used by Bethany. Like, I think Bethany is like collecting, you know, her little,
oh yeah,
little
she's
minions,
like, but at the end of the day, this is my Bethany thing. I don't like that she's the head of this thing, because it strikes me as somebody that's not wanting to actually change the industry for better. It strikes me as somebody that wants to be Andy Cohen. That wants to be Andy Cohen and thought, this is bullshit. I'm getting railroaded. My shows aren't getting picked up. Where do I go from here? I want to be an influencer. I want to be this, that, this, and the other. And that to me, I'm still, you know, this has been going on since before July, I think. And I still do not have a list of actual demands of the reality reckoning. There's a UCAN foundation that Nick Thompson from Love is Blind started. I had him on the show months ago, that actually had a real plan in place in terms of mental health care, in terms of what they were asking for, you know, and I thought this is actually something I can totally get behind. The Bethany thing seems more just about taking one person down.
Right. It's that she feels she didn't get what she was owed, even though she is probably arguably given the most of anything from Bravo. Maybe the only other person be like Lisa Vanderpump and all of her shows and stuff, but her stuff has, you know, been able to take hold. I think she thinks she deserves more than what she's had, more opportunities than she's had, more chances than she's had. And now that it's kind of dried up, she's like, I'm the darling.
I created this. I helped create this.
I am Bravo.
Well, that's the thing. Like, at the end of the day, you're not going to get me to feel bad for corporations, because they're all, and I tried to explain this to the audience on Friday. I said, hey, you know, lean in, you guys. You're going to be blown away by this. Corporations, I just found out they're just trying to make money. You know, like, it's like, guys, big reveal. They want to just make money. They don't give a fuck who you are, what you are. They care about that bottom line. And reality shows are cheap to produce. When something like Sandoval hits, man, they rake it in. But does that mean that contracts should be null and void? Like, does that mean that, like, I mean, what does that mean? Like, corporations aren't in the process of like, let's share the wealth. Like, you know, like, that's just not going to be like,
which is something that, like, I mean, I will say, like, I am a, like, you know, socialist Democrat or whatever, democratic socialist, whatever it's called. Like, I think that there should be like companies that are, you know, reinvesting in their employees.
Dana, of course. I feel the same way. Yes.
But that's not what Bethany's doing. Bethany, who already has a shit ton of money, wants more money, but also fame. And that's what attracted her to and kept her in Bravo for so long, was the fame, the attention. So it's like more money, but fame. She has so much money and she could probably just invest her money and make so much more, but it's not about money for her. It's about attention. And this is giving her attention, even if
even bad attention is good attention to Bethany
now, and she loves it, right?
Exactly. Like, Bethany, shout out to Bethany. I hope this perks you up today. But it is just very interesting, because I also think she sees people like Andy Cohen, which a lot of people, you know, like online, which, by the way, we all got to get offline. It's just like, we're all just going to hate each other in 2 years, like completely hate each other. It's going to be a civil war online. But I think at the end of the day, I think at the end of the day, she just doesn't like that Andy Cohen is liked by masses. You know, that, like, you know, this man has not had to do half the things she feels she has had to do. So it becomes like more of a personal vendetta than actually taking care of these reality stars. And that's the thing.
Right. No, I agree. While getting attention, while, like, you know, getting to, like, say she has a cause. What's so funny though is that Bethany left Bravo and Bravo shows in general. I think with people liking her in general, there's always going to be people who don't like, and there's people who don't like Andy, but
Yeah,
she has made herself so unlikable, like having a whole podcast trashing housewives while saying she's above it. And I always think about when Aviva was talking about like why she was only on, New York for 1 or 2 seasons. I can't remember, 2 seasons maybe. And how it was very rough for her, like her mental health decline, and it was just very toxic for her. And she was not bad mouthing Bravo. She was saying, I realized I am not meant for this life. This was not a good job for me. I'm not the type of person that this like flourishes in this environment. And Bethany goes on Twitter, I don't know how many years this was, like 5, 6 years ago, and was like, you are, you're fighting the hand that feeds, basically like, eh. And I'm like, Bethany, she didn't even bad mouth Bravo. She said, this isn't me. I'm not good at this.
I'm just hoping somebody made Brandi think this really through long term, because like how much money could you actually get out of Bravo where you now have completely hosed any career on TV you will ever have? Because not just NBC Universal, but I wouldn't work with her from any production company at this point, because I know at the end of the day, she can't handle it. And I know that's a very cold statement, but I'm thinking as an employer, I would look at this lawsuit and I would go, okay, so it was great for the last, because they did keep using her. They just didn't use her as much. And I think it's interesting. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens from
like,
this.
She could have been on like Traitors or Villains. Or
she was on like Traitors first season. She did. Yeah, they even brought her on.
Right. And she, she could continue to do those things, but now she's going to blacklist herself essentially.
Yeah. Okay. So, oh God, exhausting. I want to end on something that I truly love, and that is this season of Love is Blind on Netflix. Are you loving it as much as I am?
Yes, I told myself that I was done. I have this love-hate relationship with Love is Blind where I'm like, why am I watching this? I'm always disappointed. Last season was in Houston. And first of all, they did us so dirty. I don't know where they got these people. Like, don't even get me started on the Houston season. So this season, I was like, nope, not doing it, not doing it. And then I saw the memes, I saw the recaps, and I was like, fine. And holy shit.
It's great. It's great. We are 9 episodes in. They released 3 this past Wednesday. They're going to release the final 2 this Wednesday. And then there's going to be a reunion, I believe, on the next week, I believe, which great. But for some reason, this season just works. It just works. And it's awesome.
Yes. I mean, are we good to have like, to talk about it? Like, what is it called? Okay. Like Ken,
like Brittany and Kenneth.
That breakup, I was rooting for you.
I really thought they were such good communicators, but then he came back. He got on his phone. He's a principal, you guys.
Yeah.
And this guy was eating his food, couldn't get off his phone. They end up breaking up. He doesn't even seem like he cares at all. I mean, it's the weirdest conversation.
I'm really not feeling it. He's like, I'm just not really emotionally or physically or whatever feeling it. I was like, what? Okay.
You don't look enough like a dolphin to me for me to get excited. She even talks about like, listen, I know we're for God. I know we're saving ourselves for marriage, but like, I'm trying to like Mac and you're not really even, the desire doesn't even seem to be there. And he's not even arguing. He's just like, well, of course I don't want you to feel that way. And I know God has my back and he has your back, and whatever's going to be is going to be. And it's very like just one note. And it really weirded me out after watching the first 8 episodes with them.
Right. Where he was so attentive. He's like, I'm in love with you. Here's our future. He's like, like to the point where all the other girls are like, oh my God, he's so attentive. He's so sweet. He really cares about you. He's like, I do care about you. I think about your needs. And then suddenly he's like,
yeah.
Hi.
Cool. Hey, this has been fun. Well, I do want to say also the funny thing is, like, this is like day 13 too. So it's like, less than, like, I love the fact that, I mean, that's the kind of magic of this show, is that we really buy into how somebody could like possibly go this deeply in love because they're trapped in pods. And
I don't buy it. I'm always like, oh, that's so cringe. How are you going to say I love you? It's day 7.
Well, it's like people going on The Bachelor and going, no, I think my husband's in this room tonight. Like, like, what are you talking about? Like, come on. Like, there's no way. But they really do a good job of making you believe the premise. But then you kind of like, with that couple in particular, I was kind of bummed because I thought, oh, they're actually, they seem sane.
Right. And the only other couple left is like the Latina girl with the redheaded guy. I was like, I guess that's who all my eggs are in that basket because everyone else are cheating on each other.
Well, the big one at the end of this week's episode 9 was Laura. And I'm trying to find his name right. Yeah, Laura and Jeremy. Jeremy. Jeremy.
North Carolina.
She went and so he, like, I love that there's like a Love is Blind ecosystem with, he's like, hey, some other contestants, they were out drinking and I was going to go. And then they said Taylor Ann was going to be there. And I said, I almost turned around, but then I was like, no, I'm not going to let her dictate my life. So I went there and it seems like she has a lot of problems. So I needed to talk with her. And she was like, you were out until 5 a.m. And he was like, right. I gave you my location, but he's like, your location was at Taylor Ann's house, you dipshit. Cause he was saying he was in this alley or parking lot at this bar, Lost and Found. Right. And I love the TikTokers that actually went to Lost and Found and said, this is what he was saying. I also heard a rumor that he put his phone in his car. He left his phone in his car so his location would say Lost and Found, but he had his Apple Watch on and that was at Taylor Ann's. And so the location still, I don't know if that's true or not, but like and by the way, I don't think they were a good couple anyway, so I don't care, but she nailed him at the end of the episode. What do you think happened?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think he definitely did something with Sarah Ann for sure. But what was really funny
Sarah Ann, yes.
When he said, I shared my location, she was like, it was in the middle of the night. What did you think I was going to do? Like sit on my phone and watch you? She was and then he was like, we were in the parking lot. She was like, where are you? Because I looked at it and you were all the way in the north end. And that's where
he was like, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about this right now. I don't want to talk about this.
I know. Wild. But the girls are like, they're giving it. So Laura and then Jess, when she read Jimmy for filth, and she's just like, you're gonna need an EpiPen when you're gonna be choking when you fucking see me.
This is the one that Jess was the one he didn't choose. He chose the other girl who said she looked like Megan Fox, who seems like really nice, but obviously this is another relationship that seems like it just does not work. It's not going to work. But in the trailer for the new episodes, she's like, you slept with him? Like, so Jessica, we see in an episode this week where she says she still does have feelings for Jimmy, and Jimmy friend requested her, all of this stuff. But guys, they've known each other for 2 fucking weeks. Like, I do understand that this is a microcosm of how men are with women, but it is interesting that, I mean, I love it to death. I mean, what do you think of the Jimmy relationship with, why am I blanking on her name? The one that thinks she looks like Megan Fox.
Chelsea.
Yeah. What do you think about Jimmy and Chelsea?
First of all, one of my followers said he looks like a real life
thumb.
The guy, Bobby Hill from
King of the Hill.
Yes, King of the Hill. Thank you. I was like, no, I can't see it. Like, I mean, they're not wrong. That's what one of my followers said. So I'm like, first of all, these 2 girls are like fighting over this guy. But I saw this thread by the psychiatrist or psychologist, someone who deals with this stuff. And I cannot find it anymore. So if anyone can send this to me, I have scoured the internet, cannot find it. Maybe she's deleted it. She was like, okay, from my perspective, Chelsea and Trevor are the better match. And she actually likes Trevor better. But Chelsea has some deep, like rooted self-esteem issues where she wants to be picked over another girl.
Yes,
so when she finds out that Jimmy is in between 2 girls versus Trevor, who is,
and she knows what Jessica looks like, so she's like, "Wow, you would choose me over Jessica?" I want to
be picked over the, arguably more conventionally attractive girl, the thinner girl. She wants to be chosen over, the girl who maybe looks a little bit more like a Megan Fox type. Like, let's be real. She wants to be chosen over. Are you
joking?
You need an EpiPen so you can open your throat, like.
Sorry, just struck me as really funny. I choke. I literally choke.
Thank you. But the therapist or whatever she is, she was saying she actually had a better connection with Trevor, but being picked by Trevor where she's not winning over someone else didn't satisfy her insecurity or her self-esteem issues like being picked over someone else. And that's why she made the wrong decision for herself. And now we all get enjoyment out of it, but they all have to pay for it.
Well, let me also put out the theory of like, maybe we shouldn't be committing ourselves to people that we met like for 7 days in a pod, you know?
Right. And also the fact it defeats the purpose of being like, I've been told I look like Megan Fox on a show that's called Love is Blind. And I was like, all that Love is Blind has taught me is that love is not blind and maybe love is stupid. I don't know.
I kept thinking when like I would tell somebody like what I looked like and I would be like Screech from Saved by the Bell. I was like, cause I would try to even go as low as possible just so there was no expectations at all. I would just be like, like a big piece of shit. I don't know. Like, who would you tell people you look like?
Well, maybe like a discount, like Kourtney Kardashian, a Costco version of Kourtney.
Interesting.
But
Trying to think about that.
AD, I think, handled it the right way because AD, she's the girl
all day.
Stacked. She's so stacked. The number of times Jimmy called AD stacked, I was like, I have the ick now. Like, you need to stop commenting on her body. It's disrespectful at this point. But Clay asked her, like, he was like, let's do model. I like lips and ass or whatever. What do you look like? And she's just like, no, that defeats the purpose of this experiment. I'm not going to do it. And if that exactly. You, like, then you need to find someone else. She did it the right way. I love AD.
I like her. Jimmy also to like Chelsea is like, we've been having sex, and he's like, yeah. I mean, he kind of is like, yeah, we got to chill on that too. Yeah, he's like, I've been attentive. Like, it's so funny that he's just like, I'm trying to do the right things, but I can't. I also like 2 rumors as we wind up here is that Jeremy, somebody posted in a Facebook group, was with this. Was engaged and had a potential stepson. Like this lady had a son from another relationship. Jeremy went online and made a video going, guys, I did not apply for I was 2 weeks out of this relationship when I applied to be on the show. They reached out to me. I did not reach out to them and said everybody in those pods knew about that relationship. They did not show that in their edit. So he's saying everybody knew. So I do think context is always key. It doesn't mean he's a great guy, but he is saying like this, like we did talk about it. It's edited down. These people did know about that relationship. And then the other guy, Trevor, the big bodybuilder guy, he was also in a relationship before he went on the show, they're saying, because everybody thought, oh, Trevor, he's perfect. He would love Chelsea backwards and forwards. He seems like such a great guy. They were also saying he was in a relationship when he first applied to be on the show. But I don't know. I just feel like anybody can say anything these days. I just don't even know what to believe anymore.
Right. Yeah, it makes me think, like, I feel like I saw this tweet way back when, and it's like, stop asking guys if they have a girlfriend. Ask them if there's a girl out there who would believe that they're his girlfriend.
Yes. Oh, did you see that TikTok that like she was like acting like she was with somebody on Love is Blind? And then she was like, I watched Love is Blind. Turns out my boyfriend is on Love is Blind. And it went viral. And then it turns out she was just making up the whole thing. And she was kind of hinting that it was Jimmy. And Jimmy was like, dude, I have never met this girl in my life. And it got taken down, the video, but it received like 13 million views or something. It was like insane. And I wish we can stay kind of steer away from making up completely false narratives and then putting it under the branch of humor. Like, I don't think it's funny if most of the people believe it, Right.
Like, at least put it somewhere where people understand, because if it's not clear that it's a joke, like, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
So I think I can't wait for the next 2 episodes. I wish it was a longer season because I just really like all of these people. I really do. I'm excited to see where this ends.
Yeah, in a train wreck. I cannot wait. And Charlotte is not that big. So, I mean, I don't know how that little town's going to handle it. And now
it's going to disrupt Charlotte.
Yeah. Yes. I am now going to advocate that Love is Blind should be in like one of these medium small cities from now on. Like no more Chicago, Atlanta, Houston. Don't give it time more. We
like that.
Like, I don't know, whatever the city is in Wisconsin. I don't know. Madison. Something like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good idea.
Madison, Wisconsin episode or something.
Well, Dana, you did it again. Listen, I reminded how much fun I have every time I talk to you. It just really, you make this so easy for me. Where can people find you? What do we need to be looking out for? How do we support?
Just follow me on Instagram at IG Famous by Dana. I'm very simple girl, simple taste.
Yeah. I mean, she's got a great account. We all know it. And I'm just so thrilled that you're here. So thank you. And we didn't even get to half the things I wanted to talk about because I get so excited talking to you. So have a great rest of your day. I will talk to you very soon. And man, maybe you need to come back on to recap the finale of Love is Blind. I don't know. We'll see.
I would love to.
Okay, we'll see you next time.